What's up, beautiful people? How is everybody doing out there? So today is August 4th, and I'm streaming live on YouTube and on Instagram. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. It has been one hell of a week, and I'm sure you guys are feeling it, and I hope everybody's doing well. So let me ask, what do you guys got going on? Gonna give it a few minutes here while everything loads up on Instagram and YouTube till we get started talking about the energies. But what are you guys feeling? Thank you everybody for joining me. This new moon, I know it hit me really, really hard, and I want to thank everybody for really responding and letting me know how everybody's doing. What's up, guy? Why is August the thing right now? Well, because we just came out of eclipse season, and the eclipse energy will last for up to 6 months. Okay, it's very powerful. Tired, I hear you. Being activated. Activated is a good word to describe it. I feel that. What's up, Jessica? Thank you. I definitely appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you. Activated is a very good word. In fact, I think I'm going to use that for the theme of this chat. Because of all these eclipse energies, they have been going through us, and they have been essentially activating this higher vibration within us. And with this activation of higher energy, it's purging out all these things within us. So eclipse energies are very deep, emotional, foundational, and functional energies that are bringing things to the surface. Right, as we go through certain experiences, we first we intellectually process information, and then we experientially process it. So it's the experience that is being created in our outside world that is bringing all these things to a head and teaching us lessons about where we're at in life. Because right now, everybody is going through a certain situation in one aspect area of life. Now, if you understand astrology, and if you're watching this, I assuming you know a little bit, it's going to be different for everybody depending on your chart. Okay, but basically, the foundation of this changing energy that is I don't want to say difficult, but it's transformational, and usually change is difficult, and the transformation, brings change. We just had the first black moon on the 31st since 2016. True. But that was just on top. That was like the icing on the cake for this eclipse energy. So the foundational energy is this Pluto, Saturn, and Capricorn stuff going on. So look at your natal chart and see where Pluto and see what's in Capricorn and the opposite Cancer in your chart. And whatever house that is going to be the situations in your life that are going through major reconstruction. Okay. And the first half of the year, we're going through this breakdown energy, right? So for me personally, I'm an Aries rising. So my Capricorn is basically my 9th, 10th house, and my Cancer is my 4th and 5th house. So with that, that's my home and family and my career. And let me tell you, it is going through massive transformation. And I'm grateful for it, but it has been very difficult because in order to be able to embrace this transformational energy, we have to let go. We have to learn to just and let the transformation take place. It's almost like, our natural tendency is to want to try to figure it out and want to try to look at it and go with it. So this new black moon energy on top of that eclipse energy, the eclipse energy was that Capricorn Cancer dichotomy along with the north and south node, which is essentially karma and destiny in itself, right? So with that, the black moon in Leo, along with the yod that was going on at the same time, is really establishing this new layer within our psyche. Is dualism. I mean, really, if you think about it, humanity learns through our dualistic nature, right? We usually experience sadness and pain in order to understand or appreciate love, and so on and so forth, right? So we have to keep that in mind. But the more that we're aware of that, the less that we rely or have to actually go through it, because we don't really have to learn like the hard way, right? Well, all right, Mika. So yes, the self-awareness is at a new level now, but it hasn't started now. It's our awareness has been there forever. It's just we're reaching a different level or a different depth of that awareness. So with that new depth and that level, it's like we're in this new place where we have to learn who we are and what we're doing and where we're going, because it's unknown. It's like last week I was Micah, my bad. Well, my first name's Nahum, so I get all kinds of weird different ways of saying it. So I feel you. I got you. Thank you for pointing that out, Micah. Yeah. How long does this last? Well, the energy never really stops. It just transforms. It just kind of changes, right? So it's better to watch. Well, thank you, Sarah. I'm glad that you like watching me on YouTube. Either way, I'm getting the information across. So, hell yeah. All right, where was I? So now with this new layer of energy, it's taking place primarily in Leo, which astrologically speaking is the fifth house. The fifth house has to do with our inner child, our connection to our inner child, our heart energy, the way that we come out to the world and, in that childlike fashion, right? Bring our playfulness. It can also have to do with actual children, right? Our relationship to our children, our relationship to our inner child, our athletic capacity, like being active. Like children are just all about play, right? What's up, Brooke? The children are all about play, about having fun. They're energetic. They're like, let's go, go, go. The creativity, okay? All that energy is just beaming out of us right now. And, if we're not used to it, I know me, like in a lot of people, they're used to, sometimes we're too serious. Like when we grow up and we're conditioned in a certain way, we tend to lose some of that part of ourselves. So this energy is really breaking it down to another level and saying, hey, look, let's go. It's time to learn how to have fun again. It's time to learn how to play. It's time to learn how to get out of there and, let's make it happen. What do you really love? What do you really want to do? What do you really want to be? Are you really happy or are you lying to yourself? And how do we know if we're lying to ourselves? Well, we know because if you're in a situation, or if I was talking to a friend yesterday and use this example, okay? Relationships, because there's a lot of relationship energy going on right now, right? And this relationship, there's three different kinds of relationships out there. There's the relationship, there's the situationship, and there's the relationship, right? So what's the difference? Well, a relationship is exactly that. Relationship is clear communication. It's being able to be yourself, authenticity. It's being able to address issues and situations in a functional way where people don't take everything personal, and equality, exactly. Now, what's a situationship? Well, a situationship is when we're afraid to commit or we're afraid to feel the trapped feeling, right? If we are in a place where, say we're in a romantic relationship, right? And we're just like, I kind of want to keep my options open. I don't want to, sacrifice myself for this person. Well, why are you sacrificing yourself? What is so incompatible with the situation that you just feel like you need to be in it, but you can't be all the way in it, right? That's the kind of question we have to ask ourselves. You're very into energies, but this one is kicking your butt. Well, I feel you, but there's a reason for that. You need to surrender. If this energy is kicking your ass, you need to let it go. Chuck it in the bucket. All right? So, situationships. There's a lot of people out there that have these situations that, and we've all been in them, in order to be able to get to a relationship, Usually you have to go through a situationship in order to understand why you keep getting caught in those. And that can happen in intimate relationships, in business, friendships, family, you name it. It is. And that's because our emotional boundaries are not solid. Okay. So we are afraid to be, in that committed place because that commitment feels like a trap. We feel trapped, right? We don't want to feel trapped. So, and that's also a way of avoiding vulnerability. Now, what is a relationship? A relationship is when you just allow yourself to get walked all over and you stick around. Why do we do that? Because we have low self-esteem, because we are not feeling strong enough within our own self-worth and our self-love to stand up and be like, hey, no, I'm not going to let you treat me like this. There's a part of you that feels like you are not worthy of a happy life, of happiness. And all these things stem from childhood, right? So when we, right now, the massive theme going on between the Capricorn and Cancer polarity is understanding our relationship in relationship to relationships. Okay. Read that again. Slow down. It's a little confusing. What do you then, if you let go, but the other party has their own issues? Well, Jessica, that's the thing. That's going to happen. When say, for example, the relationship between empath and a narcissist, right? The narcissist feeds off this energy of the empath, and the empath really gives it. Well, what happens when the empath smartens up and stops giving the narcissist the energy? The narcissist freaks the fuck out. It's like, no, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And they're doing it unconsciously, of course, but you need to just cut that cord and get the fuck out. Stop dealing with that, right? Because if you stick around and usually it takes a few times, you got to get beat down a few times in order to be able to really understand it. And we get to a point where we have to cross this threshold where we're like, the pain is greater than what we're willing to deal with. Okay. And once we get to that point, and that's essentially the process, right? Chastain, is that how you say that? And that is where everybody's at right now. And it's crazy because at the very core, that's what we're all dealing with. Right. So all these issues and things are coming up to the surface about our self-worth, about, our love for ourselves, about what we really want. And this new energy, it's a positive energy, but if you're still in the learning phase of this awakening process, it may still be coming up and that pain may be hitting you like a mofo, but that's okay because it's going to pass. And really, there's no escaping it. The universe is sort of like taking your hand and like, look, you're coming with me whether you like it or not. So you can either scream and bitch and moan and cry the whole way, or you can surrender and go. And once you get to the point where you surrender, sort of like jumping out of an airplane, right? If you ever jumped out of an airplane, when you walk up to that door, when they open up the door and that wind is blowing at you going 600 miles an hour, and you look down and there's nothing but clouds and land, and you're like, fuck, your butthole might pucker up a little bit. But when you get to the point where you jump out of the window, woo! And then, the risers, pull, and then you're just floating, and you look out, the horizon is beautiful. You're like, wow, this is incredible. Right? And that's the art of surrender. And that resistance. Everybody has the resistance. That's our ego. That's our mind saying, no, I don't want shit to change. But this change is happening for a good reason. And it is changing us. So the more you allow yourself to let that change happen and allow this new energy to come in and change you, man, magic is going to start happening. But you don't know what that magic is going to look like, right? So you have to let go of trying to figure it out. And that's the hardest part in all this energy is trying to figure this. We keep trying to figure it out, but the universe is smarter than us. So we can't figure it out and we need to stop trying. And the way we do that is by being in the present moment. and appreciating and attracting that energy of the present moment, right? What's up, Michael Topman? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. And my blood type is A negative. I'm a negative. Yeah. It's about 11% of the population. That's how we roll. Not human, but that's okay. So we have transitioned. Like last week during that new moon was a point where we faced a part of ourselves. Okay, there was this massive fear somewhere in our lives that we had to face, that we had to feel. And even if nothing happened on the outside, yeah, negative blood represent. And even if we didn't have anything on the outside, there was something inside that was like eating at us. And I know for me, I felt like completely wiped out for a couple of days. But then, I'm going through some difficult situations in my life too. Everybody is. But you know what? You start to realize that when you like me speaking to you guys like this is my way that I express my creative expression. I get all these downloads and I'm just like, I have to share it. But for a long time, I felt nuts for doing it. Right. And I didn't really know how to, consistently channel the information. So, and in order to be able to do that, I had to look at myself and really face myself, like looking at myself in these cameras, like, I had body dysmorphia for a long time when I was competing in bodybuilding. And, I look at my nose. Oh man, my nose is crooked. Or I got this little gap. My teeth drives me nuts. Or my ears move like that. It bugs the hell out of me. And these little pockets under my eyes. I pick myself apart. You know what? Everybody's imperfect. That's the beauty of being a human being. And we have to recognize that in ourselves, right? We have to recognize the beauty in our imperfection. So, as we face ourselves, as we face these fears, and we come into this acceptance and appreciation, removing the situationship and the relationship within ourselves, with ourselves, beating ourselves up all the time, picking ourselves apart, being too hard on ourselves, that's really where it changes, because when we do that to ourselves, we attract that outside, as within, so without, right? So, and I see this a lot in the bodybuilding industry, like, especially I have a lot of friends that compete, and, I totally respect and appreciate the process of fitness competition. It is dedicated, like you set goals, you crush them, you do feats that most people, could never even dream, but then you get to the competition and then it's done. It's like, what now? You didn't win a whole bunch of money, so you can't like really take a vacation. Now you gotta, take some time off for your body to rebalance, because, you're really, not that healthy at that point. You're actually very unhealthy. So you have to rebalance yourself. And, but most people like, okay, I stood on stage 2 days ago. Now what's next? Now they start making plans for the next show and getting obsessive about like getting that pro card or getting that sponsorship or getting, I did that shit for almost 10 years. Never once got a sponsorship. And I look better than most of the people out there nowadays. I never made any money. In fact, it put me in a lot of debt that I had to learn how to readjust, and it actually activated a lot of very unhealthy, practices. Like I started binge eating, and I started, becoming super obsessed with my body and like doing things to try to force myself to grow and to get places that weren't natural and my body didn't want to go. But I started losing my way because I started looking at how the world was seeing me as opposed to how I was seeing myself and what I really felt and wanted, because that feeling that I got from the outside validation from everyone was so powerful. So recognize that, whenever you have this, whenever you do well in something, there's always a test. No matter which direction, if you're in a really bad spot, the universe is testing us. And if we're in a really good spot, the universe is still testing us, saying, hey, are you going to stay true to yourself? Or are you going to get lost in all this shit? That's why you see people, they win the lottery and then all of a sudden 3 years later, they're broke. Why? Because they weren't being true to themselves. And it's really unfortunate. So now I'm not saying that's for everybody. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or like a Susie Negative or whatever you would call that. But my point is that every step of the way, and with this energy, it's forcing us to do this. With every step of the way, we need to observe ourselves, our decision-making process. Am I making this decision because I love myself and because what I want to do, and it's because this is how I want to be with humanity, right? Or am I doing it for validation? Am I doing it as an ego boost? Am I doing it to prove somebody else wrong? And if you are, you need to think about why and what you're doing, because right now, manifestation is happening like that. And with the manifestation happening that fast, if you're coming from a place of lack or fear, it's going to smack you in the face right away. I know I got smacked in the face so many times. I'm afraid to be apart from my authenticity, And sometimes we need to be pushed to that point. But hopefully, as we learn, we don't quite need to experience that amount of pain. There's always going to be a certain amount of like course correction, if you will, that the universe is going to have to present. Be like, hey, cut that shit out. You're making the wrong decision. You'll start to feel it within you if, you're walking around like, like for example, I was at this place buying some, pre-made, fitness meals earlier, in Las Vegas. You basically have every option known to man. So I was, and my girl came in there with me, I smacked her on the ass, gave her a kiss. What's up, baby? And, and as we were leaving, I was walking by just saying bye to everybody. Cause I like to make eye contact with people and say bye. I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to be happy and make everybody's day better. And this one chick like locked eyes with me, like she gave me like the fuck me eyes. And I didn't even really notice it. But my girl was like, oh shit, did you notice what that chick staring at you like that? It's like, well, not really. It's like, damn. Now, maybe back in the day, I would have been like, oh shit, what's up with that? But I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm good. Because, the woman I'm with now, she has proven herself to me. She has proven her loyalty and her commitment to growth and to that I can actually trust. When all the rest of my world is crumbling down, I can trust that one person. And we all need that one person in our life to be able to trust and have faith in and to hold on to, because let's face it, people will disappoint us. And people, there's a lot of lost and hurt people in this world, and hurt people. I was hurt for a very, very, very long time. And I've hurt a lot of people that I love unknowingly and willingly, right? And, unfortunately, sometimes that's part of the path that has to play out in order for us to figure out what we want and who we want to be. And we can be caught up in our own shit so much that we don't see it. We don't understand it. We don't know. But it doesn't have to be like that anymore. It doesn't have to be like that now. This new energy is coming in. It's bringing that knowingness, that clarity to the forefront. Being like, hey, this is what you really like. This is what you really want. And that energy is only going to get stronger. So we are going to go into the charts here. Unfortunately, YouTube changed something again, like they do like every 2 months. And now I'm not so sure how to pull up the chart on the live stream. So you can't see it on Instagram anyways, but I'm going to go over it and explain it. And of course, I can get much more specific. Where can you buy the picture that I have at the back? This one right here. I think I got it on Amazon. Not sure. It's time for action is now. Yes, it is. What I was going to say is that if you really want to know what's going on with all your energies right now, because I know there's a lot of confusion and a lot of like powerful like palpable energies that's highly transformative, but it can be very confusing to navigate. So taking a look at your natal chart and then your progress chart, and even if it's your birthday around this time, your solar return will really help to identify and understand what these energies are doing for you. If you want a personal reading, go to my website, trinityfitnessastrology.com, and I would love to work with you because I love doing this kind of stuff. So this energy that's going on right now, I'm gonna crack me a fit brew. Never tried it before. I'll let you guys know how it is. Carbonated iced tea, not too bad. Strength, exactly. So this energy coming through right now, it's going to keep getting stronger. Okay, that's good. But it could also be, of course, difficult if you're struggling or if you keep trying to figure it out, you're not surrendering. That's where the difficulty is going to come into play. Especially, we have a couple aspects here with Pluto and the nodes. But the big news for this week is that we have we have Jupiter and Uranus getting ready to switch directions. Now, whenever a planet is stationed, either direct or retrograde, that's when the energy of the planet is most potent. Okay, so we have Jupiter getting ready to go direct. Hallelujah. And then we have Uranus getting ready to go retrograde. So with these two energies so powerful right now, it's going to be, those two energies are going to be super amplified. So what does that really mean? Well, the really great thing about Jupiter, now Jupiter is at 14 degrees Sagittarius. And another thing I want to point out is that, last week we have Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, the Sun, and the Moon last week, all in its either in its home sign or its exalted sign. And what does that mean? Okay, like now we have Jupiter in Sagittarius for like a year. We have Neptune in Pisces for like the next 10 years. Okay, so those are lasting a long time. Then we have Saturn in Capricorn, which of course is there for another year and a half. It's exalted in Capricorn. Now the sun rules Leo, right? So it's in Leo right now, and then the moon, the moon rules Cancer, but it's also exalted in Taurus. So last week we had all that going on, right? And all these energies basically mean that these planets are in their home sign, meaning our home within our soul, within ourself, our authenticity. And the more planets that we have in these home signs, the more it's pulling us into our authentic self, the more we're identifying with all these different aspects of ourselves and making us realize, hey, this is who I really am, right? This is where I'm living. This is where I want to go. And that's why this energy right now is so strong, bringing us home into ourselves. Okay. So the sun is still in Leo, of course, and it's basically going to be conjunct Jupiter here for the next couple of weeks. Jupiter's traveling a little bit fast. Venus is traveling a little bit faster than the sun, and the sun is a little bit ahead. So for this next week, we can basically consider them conjunct, okay? And conjunct means that the energies are blended together. So Venus and the sun conjunct is very benefic. It's very good. It's very positive. So, and now the moon, of course, went through its process. But now being through that process, we got this big wave, this jolt of like, hey, this is who I want to be. This is who I want to be. And now, after seeing that and feeling it, it's like, okay, now how do I make it happen? We had the cerebral, intellectual energy come up. Now it has to become experiential, okay? And with this energy coming in, Jupiter is sitting right on top of the Great Attractor, which is it's a very high vibration. The Great Attractor is the biggest black hole in our galaxy. Its gravity is hundreds of times of our sun, and it has this like gamma radiation, like high vibration, multi-dimensional energy. And with Jupiter sitting there, they're magnifying each other, okay? Because also Jupiter is in his home sign. So with it sitting there, basically like, and with Jupiter slowing down, going direct on the 11th, that energy is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And while it's sitting there gaining all this strength, it is trying the Sun and Venus. This is probably one of the most beneficial energies in astrology. So this next couple weeks is going to be massive for moving forward, for taking action, for creating, like, you're going to feel it as like these desires, like, I got to do this. I got to get going. I got to make it happen. I got to move forward. I know I can do this. Like, belief in ourselves. Like, let's make this shit happen. Let's go. So use this energy to your advantage, because we're still processing a lot of hardcore shit right now. And while all this energy is processing, that Jupiter trine the Sun and the Venus is giving us the strength to overcome it. We just have to be able to tap into it. Okay, it's there for the taking, but if we don't pay attention to it, like, so that means like basically all this like stuff that's out of alignment in our lives is going to start getting more and more chaotic and hectic. But it's going to get more chaotic and hectic if we're not listening to ourselves. Once we start listening to ourselves and we actually move forward, we're going to be able to break through these glass ceilings that are holding us back. All right. And you know what? We still may not know where it's going, but it doesn't matter, because we're going there and we're going to make it happen. Okay. So then let's see. Well, I'm looking at August 5th right now. We also have Chiron trine the Sun and Venus, which is, again, that energy is allowing our vulnerability to come up at a whole new level. And that energy has sort of been processing in one form of another all year. It's going to be going on for pretty much the rest of the year. So this is a year of vulnerability, because in order to really make these deep and integral functional changes in our lives, it needs to be that way. It has to, because our truth is in our vulnerability, right? But that vulnerability can be the most uncomfortable feeling that you've probably ever felt in your life. So that's where the surrender comes in. So you see how all this stuff it feeds into each other. It feeds into itself, and it plays this little game in our psyche where, one part of our mind, our ego, wants to figure it out. The other part doesn't know, but doesn't care. The other part's like, fuck this, I'm going home. The other part wants to go get fucked up. The other part wants to just go to sleep. Like, our truth is in our vulnerability. Yeah. Quote that. Make it a meme. Thank you. And then during this process, we also have Uranus square to the Sun and Venus. Now, with Uranus getting ready to go retrograde, okay, when a planet is direct, like when a planet comes into a new sign, it's bringing in all this new energy with it. All right, the planet has a certain set of archetypes, and the house that it's in has a certain set of archetypes. So, we have Uranus and Taurus now. Now, they don't really get along, okay? But it's a necessary evil, if you will, to be for growth. Now, Taurus is a fixed earth sign. So it's about like our agriculture. It's about our economy. It's about the earth that we live on, right? Uranus is this earthquakey energy. It's why we're having all these crazy earthquakes going on. And so it has gone 6 degrees into this new sign. Now it's going to retrograde back a few degrees, and this is going to sort of go over all this new energy that has come in to teach us these lessons, to integrate it, to make it experiential. When a planet first goes through, it brings in this new energy that's, it's sort of like the first wave where it's all new, and it usually shakes us up and breaks us down. When it goes retrograde, now it comes through to be experienced, and it's usually not as bad. Okay, but if we weren't paying attention, if we didn't learn, then it could be a little tough. Okay, so yeah, the more that you understand this, the easier it is to navigate these waters with these energies. So with Uranus stationing direct, square the Sun and Venus, with all this other stuff going on, it's sort of like saying, okay, what have you learned? And with what you learned, how are you implementing it? What actions are you going to take on what you learned? And Uranus is that energy of like, okay, you can evolve or you can fall down, but you're not going to stay the same. So look out this next couple of weeks for that Uranus energy to teach you these lessons, and see. You have to be a conscious observer of your own mind in order to be able to understand this stuff. But again, you must surrender to the energies. Okay. I have become more empathic, which sometimes is all good and others not so much. Well, a lot of people are starting to discover their level or a deeper level of an empathic nature. And with that also comes extrasensory perceptions, right? So that can be very, very jarring and very confusing too. Some people feel like they're going absolutely nuts, and that's okay, because I felt like that for a while too. But again, the important thing is to surrender to the sensitivity and listen to what the sensitivity is telling you. Okay, so on the 6th we have Chiron now. Quincunx the moon. So the moon is the most superficial energy. It's the fastest moving energy, and the moon is our emotions. It's our mind. Now, with this moon being in Scorpio and Chiron being quincunx to it, that's going to be bringing up again more of this deep, profound, very almost taboo kind of energy. And a quincunx is like this uncomfortable. Like two different energies want to go in two different ways. So Chiron is like, I want to go over here and just do nothing and not think about it and stick my head in the sand. And the moon is like, well, dude, we got to address these things. We got to fucking feel it, face it. So what are you doing? Let's go. Come on, chop, chop. Right. So, that can be a little bit uncomfortable. But again, we have this Jupiter trine the Sun and Venus that's holding us strong. Be like, no, we got this, dude. Like, get out of your head. This is energy of needing to get out of your head, and we will do that. Okay. Now, also, we have to bear in mind too that Neptune has just gone direct. It's still in its shadow phase, and it just stopped to go direct right over the exact opposition of where the lunar eclipse was. So this is still, like Mercury is our cerebral activity. It's our mind state. So it's still bringing up all this stuff that we need to learn from the eclipse energy, and that's going to be going on essentially for the next few months. But the big thing to understand with that energy, because it is technically still opposed Pluto, it's going to start moving a little bit faster, is accept and address these things that we don't want to feel. Like, you have to accept it. There's just no way around it. Okay, but we're going to accept it because next comes another quincunx between Pluto and the Sun and Venus. So, with Pluto being in these aspects, Pluto is that deep, dark, taboo, like all the stuff you see in politics and the news right now with these pedophile rings and like this nasty shit going on when it comes to politics and whatnot. It's that's all the Plutonic energy. It's death and rebirth, but it's like the stuff that we don't want to feel or see or even admit that we enjoy, right? It's that deep, dark desire or taboo or, stuff that, like people just hide away from everybody. And you can't hide anymore. And especially with this being quincunx, the sun is shining this light on what's trying to walk away. Because whatever's walking away or whatever we're trying to get away from is trying to teach us something. And it's not going to let it go until we learn the lesson, which again comes back to the surrender. Okay. Now, on 8/8 is the day or the pinnacle of the Lionsgate portal. Now, this Lionsgate portal has been imbued or embedded, I should say, with a couple yads. Now, Yods are known as the finger of God. And the finger of God is essentially saying that the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, is pointing a lesson. I'll explain quincunx in a second, sure. But the yod is saying, okay, we have two quincunxes and a sextile. All right. The quincunx is it's like these two different energies that want two different things, and they are trying to pull in two different directions. So in our consciousness, we have these energies that are going these opposite ways, and they don't want to get along. They don't want to communicate. They're standing there like, no, fuck you. I'm like this, and I'm not going anywhere. You know, and that's that sort of tug of war, uncomfortable feeling within us. And again, when it comes down to it, once we learn to let that flow through us, let that energy just sort of be absorbed and processed, then the answers come in these unexpected ways. And when they come through like that, that's when the answers just sort of appear, right? So we have this new quincunx that's going to be activated on 8/8, which is the Lion's Gate portal, and that involves Pluto and Neptune, and loosely the South Node. Okay, you're welcome, Daniela, yeah. And then of course Neptune is quincunx to the Sun and Venus. So we had this yod just last week between Saturn, the South Node, and Mars and Neptune. And now Mars has traveled a little bit further. Now it's with the Sun and Venus. Now the Sun is our soul energy. This is a stronger energy than Mars when it comes to our persona, right? It's our soul's energy. And with Venus there, Venus is essentially the divine feminine, okay? And when that's communicating or that's sitting right on top of the Sun, that is massively powerful and benefic energy. But with that super benefic energy, quincunx to the Pluto South Node, that's like saying, like, Pluto is like, all right, dude, this gotta go, this gotta go, this gotta go, this is no good, this is no longer serving you, this is done. And what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sink into this hole and not let go and just hold on? It's like you're holding on to barbed wire. Why? The shit's just gonna cut the circulation off your hand and eventually decapitate it, right? Or cut it off. You know what I mean, right? So, but yods are positions that sort of like, it's going to kick you in the ass. It's going to make you learn whether you like it or not. But it's a good thing because the Sun is in its home of rulership. Venus is right on top of it, the divine feminine. This is that divine feminine energy that's going to be blasting through, and with that trying to from Jupiter as well. Man, that is really some special, like really special things are going to be happening here in the next couple of weeks. But Venus, the divine feminine, it's all about receiving. Our ability and our capacity to receive, to nurture, and to love and be loved. And so, Pluto is that energy that's saying, okay, all this self-doubt, all this worry, all this emotional structure that we have that is just burnt out. It does not need to be here anymore. The shit's got to go. Hey, it's 4:44. The shit's got to go, right? And we have to allow. So this to me, Capricorn is more of a, I don't want to say it's a masculine energy, but it's a very structured energy. So it sort of represents the patriarch, right? So this is telling us that we need to allow ourselves to embrace this divine femininity within us all in order to evolve. Okay. Now that's going to purge out a bunch of toxic masculinity and also toxic femininity, because with this rising of the divine feminine, it's exposing the toxicity of the divine feminine, which is like manipulation, which is like, like women screaming rape when they didn't even do anything just to try to get a buck, or women trying to take their children away from, the father to, to establish some kind of control or dominance. It's sad and it's scary, but you see it everywhere, right? So the divine feminine is teaching us to, like, let's all get along kind of energy, right? Let's all get along, but not be fucked with. Okay, so that 8-8 portal, along with all these other energies, are just we're going through this vortex, and it's like, all right, it is time to go. So let's go. And then, of course, on the 11th, we have Jupiter that's going direct, and then right on the edge of the 11th and 12th, we have Uranus going retrograde. So at the end of this week, this week is a portal, essentially. Okay, we've been going through the portal. Now we're in the second part of it, and the second part of the portal is teaching us to bring out our inner spiritual bodybuilder. I like that, Sarah. Hell yeah. That's beautiful. Bring up that divine femininity and really sit down and be brutally honest with yourself and with people in your life. Okay? When we do that, you're going to be surprised at how much more effortless it was in comparison to the way you thought it was going to be. Like, you've been preparing for all this shit to go down, for all this stuff to happen, maybe for somebody to react a certain way, or for something to go in a certain direction. So you had to have all these things planned out. Then you get to it, and about 5% of the shit you thought was going to happen actually happens, right? That's sort of the energy that we have going, but we have to face the fear in our mind. We have to face the limitations that we believe are there because they're only figments of our imagination, fear, false evidence appearing real. That's all it is. So, with that, sometimes you need to feel the fear and do it anyways. Just go into it. And when you do, you'll find that, oh shit, that wasn't that bad. Let's take another step. Just like jumping out of an airplane, just like identifying if you are in a relationship or a situationship, right? Be honest with yourself and then make it happen, and everything is going to be great. Okay? So real quick, I'm going to take any questions that you guys might have. Let me know in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them. If not, I hope you guys will like, share, and subscribe all this content. Go check out my YouTube channel. Spiritual Bodybuilder link is on my IG bio, and you can go to trinityfitnessastrology.com, and if you want a personal reading, and I'd be happy and delighted to work with you. Okay, so that's it. I'm grateful for you guys tuning in. Thank you so very much, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Peace.